King Solomon, son of David, a figure whose name has become synonymous with wisdom and grandeur. His story is one of the most fascinating tales in the annals of history, filled with lessons that resonate through the ages. The Bible tells us he reigned over Israel for 40 years, a golden age. This period was marked by unprecedented peace and prosperity, a time when the kingdom of Israel reached the zenith of its power and influence. Under Solomon's rule, Jerusalem became a bustling hub of culture, commerce, and spirituality. He was known for his wisdom, wealth, and the magnificent temple he built in Jerusalem. This temple, often referred to as Solomon's Temple, stood as a testament to his devotion to God and his desire to create a central place of worship for his people. It was an architectural marvel of its time, adorned with gold and precious stones, symbolizing the glory of Israel. Solomon's early reign was marked by peace and prosperity. His diplomatic skills and strategic marriages helped to secure alliances with neighboring kingdoms, ensuring a stable and secure environment for his people. The land flourished under his wise and just leadership. He forged alliances, expanded trade, and solidified Israel's position as a powerful kingdom. Solomon's wisdom was legendary. His ability to navigate complex political landscapes and his keen understanding of human nature allowed him to make decisions that benefited his kingdom immensely. Trade routes expanded, bringing wealth and exotic goods from distant lands, further enhancing Israel's prosperity. People traveled from distant lands to hear his judgments and seek his counsel. His reputation as a wise and fair ruler spread far and wide, attracting scholars, merchants, and dignitaries from across the known world. They came to witness his wisdom firsthand and to learn from his profound insights. He could discern truth, resolve disputes with unparalleled insight, and his proverbs offered timeless wisdom. These proverbs, many of which are recorded in the Bible, continued to be studied and revered for their deep understanding of human nature and moral principles. They provide guidance on how to live a righteous and fulfilling life. One of the most famous stories illustrating his wisdom is the story of the two mothers and the baby. This tale has been told and retold through generations, highlighting Solomon's extraordinary ability to uncover the truth in even the most challenging situations. Two women came before him, both claiming to be the mother of the same infant. The tension in the court was palpable as each woman pleaded her case, each convinced of her own truth. Solomon proposed cutting the baby in half, knowing the true mother would never allow such a thing. His suggestion was shocking, but it was a masterful ploy to reveal the genuine mother. The true mother immediately begged to give up her claim to save the child's life, while the other woman agreed to the division. Solomon's wisdom shone through as he declared the true mother and restored the baby to her. His wisdom not only brought justice, but also revealed the depths of a mother's love. Solomon's reign seemed blessed. His judgments were fair, his policies effective, and his people content. The kingdom thrived under his rule, and his name became synonymous with wisdom and justice. He had it all: power, wealth, and wisdom. His court was a place of splendor, filled with the finest treasures and the most learned men of the age. Solomon's wisdom was not just in governance, but also in his writings, his proverbs, and his songs, which have been passed down through the ages. However, the seeds of his downfall were sown in the very things that brought him glory. His insatiable quest for knowledge, wealth, and power began to take a toll. The alliances he forged through numerous marriages to foreign princesses brought foreign influences and gods into Israel, leading to a gradual erosion of the kingdom's spiritual foundation. His thirst for power and security led him to make choices that would ultimately cost him dearly. The heavy taxes and forced labor he imposed to fund his grand projects began to breed discontent among his people. The once united kingdom started to fracture under the weight of his ambitions. Solomon's later years were marked by a decline in the very wisdom that had once defined him, leading to a legacy that is as much a cautionary tale as it is a story of greatness. Solomon's desire to secure his kingdom led him to forge alliances through marriage. In the ancient world, political alliances were often solidified through matrimonial bonds. By marrying the daughters of neighboring kings and tribal leaders, Solomon sought to create a network of loyalty and peace around his kingdom. This strategy was not uncommon among rulers of the time, as it helped to ensure mutual protection and cooperation. However, Solomon's approach was particularly ambitious, as he amassed a vast number of wives and concubines, each representing a different alliance or treaty. He took wives from neighboring kingdoms, accumulating a vast harem of 700 wives and 300 concubines. This immense collection of women was not merely a symbol of his wealth and power, but also a testament to his far-reaching influence. Each wife brought with her the customs, traditions, and religious practices of her homeland, creating a melting pot of cultures within Solomon's court. The king's palace became a microcosm of the ancient world, filled with the sights, sounds, and rituals of many different peoples. These women came from different cultures and religions, and Solomon, in an attempt to appease them, allowed the worship of their gods within Israel. This decision marked a significant departure from the religious exclusivity that had characterized the worship of Yahweh. Solomon's tolerance of these foreign deities was seen as a pragmatic move to maintain harmony within his diverse household. However, it also introduced a variety of religious practices that were foreign to the Israelites and contrary to their covenant with Yahweh. This compromise, however well-intentioned, was a grave error. Solomon's decision to allow the worship of other gods within his kingdom was not just a political misstep, but a spiritual one. It signaled a shift in his own devotion and the religious integrity of Israel. The king, who had once been known for his wisdom and dedication to Yahweh, now found himself torn between his loyalty to his God and his desire to keep peace within his household. This internal conflict was reflected in the broader society as the people of Israel began to question their own faith and practices. The God of Israel, Yahweh, had commanded his people to worship no other gods. This commandment was central to the identity and faith of the Israelites. It was a covenant that set them apart from other nations and defined their relationship with their God. The introduction of foreign gods into their worship was not just a breach of this covenant, but a threat to their very identity. The Israelites had always been a people defined by their exclusive devotion to Yahweh, and Solomon's actions challenged this foundational aspect of their faith. By allowing foreign deities into the kingdom, Solomon violated this fundamental covenant. The presence of these idols and the rituals associated with them began to erode the religious purity of Israel. Temples and high places dedicated to these foreign gods started to appear throughout the land, drawing the Israelites away from their worship of Yahweh. This spiritual dilution had far-reaching consequences as it weakened the moral and religious fabric of the nation. The people, once united in their worship of Yahweh, now found themselves divided and confused. His heart, once fully devoted to Yahweh, began to stray. Solomon, who had been blessed with wisdom and favor from God, now found himself in a state of spiritual turmoil. The king's divided heart mirrored the divided state of his kingdom. His once clear and unwavering devotion to Yahweh was now clouded by the influence of his foreign wives and their gods. This internal conflict was not just a personal struggle, but a reflection of the broader spiritual crisis facing Israel. The scriptures tell us that Solomon followed Ashtoreth, the goddess of the Sidonians, and Milcom, the abomination of the Ammonites. These deities represented the very antithesis of what Yahweh stood for. Ashtoreth, associated with fertility and war, and Milcom, known for his demand for child sacrifices, were abhorrent to the Israelites. Solomon's involvement with these gods was not just a personal failing, but a public scandal. It sent a message to the people that their king had abandoned the God of Israel for the gods of their enemies. He built temples and high places for these foreign gods, participating in their rituals and sacrifices. These actions were a stark contrast to his earlier achievements, such as the construction of the magnificent Temple of Yahweh in Jerusalem. The same king who had once dedicated his efforts to glorifying Yahweh was now using his resources and influence to promote the worship of false gods. This betrayal was not just a personal failing, but a national tragedy. The people of Israel, who had looked to Solomon for spiritual and moral leadership, now saw their king leading them astray. Solomon's actions had dire consequences. The introduction of foreign gods and the erosion of exclusive worship of Yahweh led to social and political instability. The unity and strength of Israel began to crumble as factions formed and conflicts arose. The once prosperous and peaceful kingdom started to experience turmoil and unrest. The people, confused and divided by the mixed messages from their king, began to lose their sense of purpose and direction. The spiritual and moral decay initiated by Solomon's compromises had far-reaching effects on the entire nation. His once undivided devotion to God was replaced by a divided heart, a heart torn between Yahweh and the idols of his foreign wives. This internal division was not just a personal struggle, but a symbol of the broader division within the kingdom. The people of Israel, who had once been united in their worship of Yahweh, now found themselves pulled in different directions by the conflicting influences of their king. Solomon's divided heart led to a divided nation, and the consequences of his actions would be felt for generations to come. This spiritual adultery would not go unpunished. The scriptures tell us that Yahweh was angered by Solomon's actions, and the consequences were severe. The kingdom that Solomon had worked so hard to build and secure would be torn apart. His descendants would face the repercussions of his divided heart, and the once united and prosperous kingdom of Israel would be divided into two. The northern kingdom of Israel and the southern kingdom of Judah would emerge from the ruins of Solomon's reign, each facing its own challenges and struggles. The legacy of Solomon's divided heart would be a lasting reminder of the importance of unwavering devotion to Yahweh.